So your arthritis has flared up yet again, and you're thinking, how can I solve it this time? Cabbage has been used at times in the past as kind of a folk medicine solution for arthritis. There's actually a study. It's not just my aunt swears by it kind of study. It's a real clinical trial, 60 participants. So today we're going to dive into a strange but legitimate question as we look at joint pain history. What works better for osteoarthritis symptoms? Cabbage, an ice pack, or topical NSAID gel? Let us see where it takes us. Welcome to the Herbal Mana Podcast. This is where we explore all things that help you to hurt less and live more. And yes, we'll even go to the vegetable patch. I'm Todd Bailey, CEO of Herbal Mana. And today we're diving into a natural solution you may not have thought about for helping with that osteoarthritis pain and inflammation. Before we get too far, let me say, if you've ever wrapped cabbage on your knee, I'm not here to make fun of you. It can actually work. In fact, I've got a wrap on today, just so I can show you how this is working for this particular study. Now, 1 minute we're sensible adults, the next minute we're desperate, gingerly hobbling through the kitchen, looking for an ice pack, a tube of gel, a head of cabbage, just trying to get some relief. Now, first, the study that I'm going to refer to is on osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis is more than just the getting old kind of thing, although a lot of us old folks have it. And it's more than just having bad luck with our joints. It's the wear, the tear, the stress, the inflammation, the stiffness, any of the mechanical irritation. And it can come from age. It can come from overuse. It can come from having a joint that might be misaligned just a little bit. Sometimes you get pain into your kneecap because the kneecap isn't aligned just perfectly with the groove that it sits in. It can also be triggered by injury. That's how I got started with high school football. I had injuries in high school that led to surgery, which greatly accelerated my introduction to osteoarthritis. And it can hit you when you're young, it can hit you when you're old. When you get it, it's miserable. Mine got bad enough at one point, before I got into natural and DMSO and all the awesome things that we do, it got bad enough if I just mowed the lawn for half an hour, I was done. Or if I rode a stationary bike for 20 minutes, I was done. Not just that day, I was done for the week. My knees were just hamburgered. I had to find something else to do. So I've tried all kinds of things, different tools, different gadgets, different sorts of just ideas for pain relief. Some things work well. They can calm the symptoms pretty quickly. That's awesome, but we need to do a little bit better than that. Today, we're going to look at 3 contenders for helping us with our arthritis pain, and we'll weed out the losers and see what remains after our test. First up, the handy dandy ice pack. Ice packs, gosh, I've got probably 10 of them, different shapes and sizes. And yes, even though I've got the awesome DMSO and other Herbal Mana products that we use, I still reach for an ice pack from time to time. Ice packs are pretty darn handy. They're probably the least weird option on the list here. Cold therapy can help calm down the irritated, swollen joints and tissue. It can also temporarily numb the pain signals. And sometimes that alone makes it worth doing. And the relief is great. Now, it doesn't help so much with the underlying healing, but it does give us some temporary help. The ice packs work well. Works really well if your knee is swollen, cranky, hot to the touch, which can happen if you've got osteoarthritis and you've been active. And that's a great way to turn down some of that volume, but it doesn't attack the underlying problem. It's not going to help with the underlying inflammation or the tissue damage. You're just kind of pushing the mute button like you would on the TV. You want to do something that's a little bit more permanent. So let's go to the next contender. You might reach for a topical NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. The most common is diclofenac. And a very common name for marketing it is Voltaren. In fact, I've used this many times. I've tried over and over to get relief with using Voltaren. And it's traditional, it's pharmaceutical. Some people like that. It's available over the counter. I actually ran down to my local Walmart, picked this up just for this video. I don't keep it around because it doesn't do much for me. Anyway, to be fair, topical NSAIDs, they're common. And for some people, they like that it's coming from a pharmaceutical company. And if that's the case, if that's what you like, then maybe this is something worth trying. And it can be helpful. The ice packs are great. Just for a quick timeout, the NSAIDs should help calm down the actual inflammation. They should prove a little bit more useful over time if they're doing what they're supposed to do. And then our third contender, let me bring it back up again, is the noble cabbage. Cabbage itself is kind of interesting. In the study, the way they used cabbage was they took cabbage. In this case, they used a white cabbage. In the study itself, they had 60 patients with knee osteoarthritis, so the wear and tear in the joint. In the study, they divided the 60 people into 3 different groups, 20 per group. The folks that were in the ice pack group, and they call it a cooling pad, I'll call it an ice pack. They would put the ice pack on 20 minutes a day, just one time, 20 minutes a day. Cabbage people, they would use 60 minutes a day. What they would do is take leaves of the cabbage, put them inside of a Ziploc bag or a vacuum sealed bag, roll it a little bit with a rolling pin to kind of break up the fibrous structure, put that into the fridge, make sure that it's completely chilled, pull it out, and then actually take the leaves, put them on the joint. I'm using my elbow because it's a little easier to show it than my knee, and then cellophane it on. Or if you don't want it to show while you're out in public, you could even put an ace bandage around it. They would leave the cabbage on for 60 minutes. And then the folks that were getting the Voltaren or the diclofenac 4 times a day. So they were getting quite a dose of this 4 times a day. And this went on for a month. They were following these folks, and they used a scale of pain to see whether the achiness, the throbbing, the problems with the joint changed over time. And what they found was pretty doggone interesting. As far as the folks that used the ice pack and the cabbage, there was some improvement. Now, this was self-reported, so it's just slightly sketchy, but as far as the self-reporting of the pain, the folks with the cabbage and ice pack had improvement. And it was statistically significant, meaning it moved the needle by at least 5%. So it's actually moving the needle. And the folks in the white jackets conducting the trial, they thought it was a meaningful change. Interestingly, the folks using diclofenac gel, no change, no improvement at all, which means that the pharmaceutical drug got beaten by an ice pack and a vegetable. Now, the cabbage is interesting. The ice pack are interesting. I think it's the cooling effect and then having a little bit of pressure. When you've got cooling and pressure on an arthritic joint, it can give you some relief from those cranky knees. The ice pack, of course, is going to give you that fast relief and that sense of being somewhat pain-free. It's good relief. In fact, it's really good relief. But I want something better. And this is what led us to do things at Herbal Mana, where we're looking for something better. Actually, the first big breakthrough for Herbal Mana came after I had knee replacements, full knee replacements, where they cut parts of bones off and really make a mess of things. I went home from the hospital with 3 different medications for pain, 3 that were pretty doggone potent. And they worked. I felt great for about an hour, and then I couldn't take them again for about another 4 or 5 hours. So I was kind of miserable. After a couple of days of that, my wife talked me into trying something different. She said, why don't we try this cream? She has a cream that's kind of a heavy oil base, a bunch of little essential oils in it. She rubbed that on, then frankincense essential oil, then wintergreen essential oil. And I got as much relief from that as I did from the 3 prescriptions that the doc sent me home with. That led us down the path of looking at things like DMSO. If you look at our Herbal Mana products, one of my favorites is Alpha Warrior. And the real goal here is to help us to hurt less, live more. That tagline is very intentional. That's what we're all about, helping you to hurt less and live more. So the next time your knees flare up, or any other joint, reach for something that's going to give you some real relief. Try Alpha Warrior. In fact, I'll put a coupon down in the notes below the YouTube video. You'll be able to use the coupon for your next visit to herbalmana.com to grab some Alpha Warrior or anything else you want to grab. Anyway, it's really helpful. It'll do better than cabbage. It won't taste as good. Hope to see you on the next video. Thank you.